I really dislike Andrew Tate. I think that he's a sex trafficking piece of shit. But there's one video where he spits some truth, right? When he talks about depression, he says depression isn't real. You can feel depressed, but there's no such thing as the disease of depression. The same thing's true with addiction. There's no such thing as the disease of addiction. You just feel desire, right? There's no such thing as depression, but you can feel depressed. There's no such thing as addiction, but you can feel a strong desire. The moment you see yourself as addicted, everything changes. You feel hopeless, you feel like everything's bleak, you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But when you view it in terms of desire, now you can change your desires. It's not about overcoming urges, it never has been. It's always been about changing your desires. When you were younger, you liked cartoons, now you don't. Why did the desire change? Did the cartoons change or did you change? You changed. Basically, when you view yourself as addicted, you externalize the problem. And Tate says this as well. He says, I fucking hate Tate, by the way, fuck that guy. Tate says, when you view yourself as depressed, you externalize the problem and therefore you don't take responsibility for it. With PMO, addiction doesn't exist, it's just heavy use. You externalize the problem and therefore you can't actually take any responsibility for it. If you think you're being afflicted by something out of your control, you willingly, right? You willingly relinquish your own control over that thing. It's not like that thing's actually taking control of you. You've deluded yourself into thinking that you don't have control. There was this story about like the lion in the cage. The lion was like raised in the cage. It was in the cage for ages. Or it was a bear or something. And pretty much, no, it was tied to a tree. This lion or this bear was tied to a tree. And a white circle was drawn around it. So when the baby was a bear, he's tied to the tree. He tries to escape the white circle and he can't. He's too weak. But as the bear gets bigger and bigger, there comes a point where it can actually break the rope. But because it's been raised believing that it can't escape the white circle because of the rope, it never even tries. So now you've got this great big bear held to this tree by this puny little rope, and the bear believes it can't escape even though it can. Same is true about PMO. You're held together, you're held to PMO by nothing but your own beliefs. And this is what's so challenging, because questioning your own beliefs is hard, because as Hormozy says, we question all of our beliefs. We question all of our beliefs, apart from the ones that we really know to be true and those we just believe as fact. This is the problem. In order to question your beliefs, you have to really fucking question everything that you know about PMO addiction. When you think, oh, if I watch porn, I have to jerk off, and if you just know, you're like, I'm sure about it, I've done it every time, you got to throw that one out and you got to test it, and you got to be like, is it true? Is it actually true? Do you see what I mean? You're not stuck with the disease of addiction. It doesn't actually exist. I'm going to make a lot of vids talking about this, but in essence, do not externalize the problem. You don't have a problem. You don't have depression. No one has depression. Big Pharma invented depression so that they could sell you the pill. Bill Wilson invented addiction so that he could sell Alcoholics Anonymous. They can sell treatment. If you're not diseased, oldest trick in the book when it comes to medicine, invent the disease, sell the solution. Become a billionaire through that shit. You can't sell people addiction therapy if they don't believe they're addicted. They have to believe they're addicted in order for you to sell the solution. They don't have to actually be diseased, they just have to believe that they are. Depressed people, if depressed people didn't believe they had a disease, they wouldn't buy the pills, would they? People need to believe that they're diseased in order for them to buy, in order for them to put their credit card in and buy. It's sad, and NoFap essentially has picked up on this addiction idea, and it's a load of bunk. Not true. That's it. Read the free model, link in the description. After you've read it, contact me on Telegram and we'll essentially go through all of your sticking points.